Please be advised, if you have not seen the movie that is about to be reviewed in this video, stop this video right now, go and watch the movie and then come back, because there are going to be massive plot spoilers throughout the course of this video. Hey everybody, and welcome to the video vault. We are here in the studio. That's right, I'm back in my normal everyday studio where I used to do like all the what's in the box stuff and whatever else I did. Yes, we are here in the studio. So today we are going to dive into Lake Placid. Released in 1999. This was written by David E Kelley, who most of you would probably know is the creator of Ellie McBeal and Boston Legal, and it is directed by Steve Minner. This is actually, this is the best one in the whole Lake Placid franchise, because, well, the rest suck. The rest suck. I mean, I'm not even going to bother doing reviews on the sequels because they're just pure trash. But this one is by far the best one. This has got an absolutely incredible cast. We have Bill Pullman, Bridget Fonda, Platt and Betty White, who deserved an Oscar for her performance in this. I'll get to that later on. Anyway, so we start with, we get the opening scene. We've got this beautifully shot overhead as we're going over like the whole lake area. And we've got the forest surrounding each side of the lake, and it's just absolutely beautifully shot. And yeah, we have the Jaws-esque underwater POV of the crocodile just swimming through the lake and whatever else. So there are a couple little Jaws homages here in this movie. This pretty much revitalized the whole creature feature that had been sort of missing a little bit, because slashers just sort of come back into 1996, and then we have Lake Placid, and then we had Deep Blue Sea, which is another incredible movie, which I might do it at some stage. We will see. But we start off. We got the town sheriff. His dialogue is very softly delivered. It's like sort of this arrogant everyone very bitter he doesn't get along well with others. He's very much, you're a sarcastic jerk. He's very judgmental on things. And we've got a wildlife guy, and they're looking for what has been classed as a rogue badger. So they're in the lake. The fisheries guy says, I'm diving, and has a look around. He comes across this nest. Yeah, checks it out, goes underwater for a little bit. I guess he sort of gets a feeling like he's being watched. Yeah, so looks around and, oh, it's a fake out. It's only a turtle. No problem. It's not of the Teenage Mutant Ninja variety. It's just your standard saltwater turtle. So he goes, checks it all back out, and of course, the Crocodile Attacks. This is very reminiscent of the opening of Jaws 2, when you got the two divers checking out the wreck of the Orca. So he manages to make it to the surface, and we get another Jaws 2 nod here, where we have the wildlife officer just being dragged through the water and hits the boat. Now, this is very reminiscent of the Tina and Eddie scene in Jaws 2, where Eddie's attacked by the shark. He gets dragged and crashes into the boat. And the only difference this time is the officer actually gets, well, half of him anyway, gets pulled into the boat. And so it's pretty graphic, this section of the movie, because, you know, he's got his guts hanging out. And this is where the sort of backwards mentality of the sheriff comes into play. Is like, what was that? He's just seen this guy get ripped in half by something, and it's just very nonchalant, sort of whatever. Thankfully, he does have some character development throughout this movie, so it gets better. Now we jump forward to New York City, the what's the name of the big museum? Natural History Museum. Thank you very much, my brain. And we meet our female protagonist, Kelly, who's played by Bridget Fonda. And this is the stereotypical city girl who's being sent out into the wilderness to, you know, investigate this, you know, strange, fossily reptilian looking discovery. And oh boy, yeah, we get the very stereotypical cliche complaining, I don't want to be here. No one said there'd be this. No one said we'd have tents and, you know, expecting all this other stuff. It's very stereotypical, is very cliche, but again, we do get more character development later on throughout the movie, because at the minute she's annoying. It's just like, just eat her, please. So we're in Maine, the favorite place of any Stephen King movie, really. There's just something about it, I don't know why. I guess the remote sort of foresty sort of area. Actually, wonderful cinematography being taken here. So, and this is where we meet the head of the wildlife and fisheries department, Jack, who's played very well by Bill Pullman. I kept thinking for some reason, I kept thinking it's Bill Paxton. It's not Bill Paxton, it's Bill Pullman. It gets very confusing when we've got two Bill P's pretty much on top of a lot of things in the late 90s. So it's very easy to sort of get the two mixed up. So we have the typical, again, there's a lot of character development later on throughout the movie, which is really, really good, because we've got butting heads, you know. We've got the local sheriff who's very backward, still skeptical on what it is, you know. The fisheries and wildlife guy is very sort of high and mighty on himself, and we got the bratty, sort of whingy, whiny, you know, typical cliche city chick. Normally, this is a recipe for disaster. At the start, it's a disaster because it's just constant bickering and whatever else, but eventually it all turns around and everything gets better in the end. But we'll get to that. And in comes Oliver Platt, riding it high on his very crocodilian camouflaged helicopter. And it's like, and the sheriff's like, well, what's this guy doing here? And it's like, we're getting, you know, Kelly says to him, oh, if he's here, you know, he thinks you've got a crocodile. And boy, do we actually get some really good comedy between the sheriff and Oliver Platt's character, because Oliver Platt, heck to see it, he's a crocodile expert. He's the expert. And the sheriff is very ignorant. Like, well, you know, crocodiles can't swim in salt water, and Hector's just saying, yeah, well, that'll be, you know, that's your little secret. And oh, how's a crocodile, you know, meant to swim from, you know, Asia to here? And it's like, well, they can see a lot of that information in books. So it's like, it's common knowledge, but it's basically saying the sheriff's pretty, you know, sort of ignorant and sort of doesn't really care and is very skeptical, still does not believe that it's a crocodile. So they go for a bit of a search out on the lake. They've got a recording of young hatchlings and I think, the plays through the water, the crocodile's going to, want to check it out because, they're in distress, got to look out for the younglings and everything else. So they're on the water and they get attacked, of course. We've got Jack and Hector there diving in the lake just to sort of check it out, see where the croc might be hiding out. And we've got the sheriff and one of the deputies and Kelley are still on the boat. The boat gets attacked. Kelley is knocked into the water and the boat gets, dragged 100 feet away. And just when you think, Kelley's about to get attacked by the croc, last minute, eventually they manage to start the boat. They get her out of the water just in time. But it's a bit of a fake out because here pops Jack. And they, a little bit later on, get Hector out of the water. They're pulling everything in as they've got the sound recording out of the water. Here comes the crocodile and decapitates the deputy. So he's, his head just gets bitten off in just one clean shot. And this is really, really well done. This is a very, very good use of CGI. We see, compared to a lot of the CGI stuff we see now, where you can have a look and you can just tell that it's all CGI. But yes, this is CGI and there is practical effect in here as well. It's well done. Like, we get the water dispersing, the animal's head just comes up, chomp, and back down. So they've used the Jaws approach again a lot with this. Like, the less you see it, the more impressive it looks when you finally see it on the screen. So everyone's panicking and go, oh my God, what's happening? We got Sheriff Dumsky who sort of just like stands there like, it was all too fast. I don't know what happened. It's like, dude, the guy got his head bitten off by something big. What do you think? What do you think? You're not going to be concerned? You think, maybe this crackpot is maybe onto something, Nobody's head just gets bitten off. And it's frustrating. This guy's frustrating. He's frustrating. He doesn't become a believer that it is a crocodile until he finally actually sees the thing for himself, which we will get to a little bit later on. So they're trying to figure out like what is going on. And, we've got this old farmhouse, and this is where we get perhaps the biggest star in the movie, whose name should have actually also been on the cover of the tape. On the poster is Betty White, and she deserves an Oscar for this performance because it is just so good. She brings such light-hearted comedy to this. It is great. And it's like, so what happened with your husband? It's like, he was in a lot of pain, begging me and suffering, and eventually just one day I just hit him over the head with a skillet and buried him at the back. It's like very nonchalant, There's a wonderful line in here later on. I'm not going to repeat because I want to keep this as family friendly as possible. And although I could throw in bleep after bleep, but it wouldn't do it justice. You just got to watch that scene. You just got to watch, put in Lake Placid Betty White, and I'm sure it'll be in there. But I think nobody else but Betty White could deliver that line just absolutely beautifully. Again, I'm not going to repeat it. But they're still the sheriff anyway is still very skeptical. We've got Hector who's setting up traps because, crocodiles come on land. He's like, no, they don't. It's like, again, that'll be your little secret. Again, they just constantly at each other. It gets it wears very thin towards the end, but then eventually okay, it is a crocodile. And that's when he sort of starts realizing, okay, you know, maybe this guy's not as nuts as I thought he was. Because he kept referring to the Hector character the whole time as a lunatic, as a nutcase. You know, saying that the guy's mental. And like, you know, crocodiles aren't gods. They're like mindless killing machines. And, you know, how can they survive winter? I was like, well, as long as their nostrils don't freeze over, they can survive. And this is true. This is very true. Like, you do any thorough research, like, you can see, like, especially in America where they've got alligators and that, you know, lakes and that sort of can freeze over and whatnot. But hey, you know, crocodiles have the ability to, and even alligators, they have the ability to, you know, regulate their body temperature if the nostrils don't freeze over. You know, they can survive, and whatever else. It's all been proven throughout the history of the world and whatnot. So, but then, so we finally, yes, we get the big payoff. Like, okay, we've seen the crocodile. And we find out that it's actually been a pet of Betty White's this whole time, because we see this wonderful shot of, we've got Kelley, Jack, and the sheriff. They're walking through the woods. They're near the farm, and they spot, you know, Betty White mysteriously leading a cow to the edge of the lake. And we just sort of pan across and, you know, oh, holy hell, there's the crocodile. And, you know, she's been secretly feeding it, which is why it's gotten as big as it has. And this is just beautifully done. And we've got Hector, who's trying to have a bit of a swim around. He's like, with the female deputy, just, there's not much here. He's swimming back towards the boat, and then we hear the behind him is like the creature's nostrils. He's thinking, oh, yeah, you can turn around and see in the eyes, you know, it's not going to attack me. He turns around and he's like, yeah, I've made a mistake, because he can see, like, in the creature's eyes, like, this thing is just unstoppable killing machine. Like, no writer isn't had the blackest eyes, the doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. It's a very quaint moment, sort of realization sort of thing. Okay, so there's another homage to Jaws thrown in there. And, you know, an homage to Jaws too, where, you know, the helicopter gets attacked by the croc, but instead of the helicopter being dragged under, they get away and come up with this elaborate idea of, okay, you know, we're going to try and trap this creature, you know, we want to take it alive to this place in Portland where it's going to be looked after and studied and put on display and everything else. So they devised this pretty good plan, actually. Like, they're going to teabag one of the cows. That came out so wrong. I realized as soon as I said it. They're going to use one of the cows as a teabag. They're going to dunk it in the water to try and lure the crocodile. It's a teabag bait. It's going to be harnessed underneath the helicopter. I didn't want to say hanging from the helicopter, because then it just sounded completely worse. I just wanted to, but no, it's just in a harness under the helicopter, and just gets, you know, blah blah blah, dunked up and down in the water like you would with a tea bag when you're making a cup of tea, and, you know, to lure the crocodile in. And we get this wonderfully shot sequence. It really is. The crocodile comes up on land, it attacks. Everybody goes towards Hector and Kelley, and just somehow it gets tangled up in the helicopter after it's been shot by a couple of tranquilizers, and they may not have netted it, but they've trapped it within the helicopter. It's not going anywhere. It's tracked. The tranks are starting to slowly kick in. There's this huge debate of, kill it. No, you can't kill it. Eventually, Jack, the fisheries guy, just grabs a rifle. Now, everyone's thinking, oh, this is, you know, this is like a 30-06 or a 22 caliber rifle, you know, it's going to kill it. No, there's a swerve. It's just a tranquilizer dart, and they subdue the animal. All think, you know, everything's fine, hunky-dory, hooray, woohoo! out of nowhere, here comes another one like an RKO. Just, it's like, there's two of them. Yes, I can. The sheriff's like, I can count. He's like, gets his massive gun when Hector finally gets free, shoots it, and the head explodes. Why is the head exploding, you may ask? Well, see, here's the thing. This isn't a case of we've got a gas tank and a plucky shot. This is a rifle with explosive rounds. And I'm talking like, these are big 30-aught, pretty big caliber. It's almost like a mini rocket launcher in a way. He's just launched this explosive round and it blows the crocodile up. Yeah, everyone's happy, everyone leaves, and we fade out with this. We end up with this really, really great shot of this huge crocodile on the back of a truck going down the highway. Now, I do want to credit Stan Winston because he's the guy that did the animatronic crocodile for this movie. And Stan Winston is one of the best when it comes to very practical effects and animatronics. You look at the Terminator. You look at the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. You look at, yes, the crocodile in Lake Placid. Anything that's got Stan Winston tested to it as far as special effects and that go, you're getting top quality every single time. And this thing just looks absolutely gorgeous. And that is it, for Lake Placid. It's, how can I put this? It's just a good movie. It's not great by any means of the word, because there are some parts that you just want to think, oh, how can this, especially with a couple of the characters, like, how can they be so dense? Like, you've seen this sort of thing for yourself, like, and you're still very nonchalant, uncaring about what's going on. It's like, especially the sheriff, like, dude, your deputy's got his head bitten off. You've seen this fisheries guy get bitten, something's bitten this fisheries guy in half. Wouldn't you be freaking the hell out? He's just very nonchalant, very So then, but eventually, like, as I said, there's character growth throughout this movie. So eventually, like, they all come around and become more relatable to the way they end up being. Instead of just characters you don't care about, they become ones that you actually like, oh, I hope they survive. I hope they survive. Especially like the scene underwater where Kelly's getting attacked by the crocodile. She manages to get herself like sort of behind a tree trunk. So she manages to avoid the croc's jaws that way. And that's when we get to the points where, you care about these characters. You want them to survive. Personally, I think it's great storytelling. Especially again with character arcs. They just do a complete 180 from where they started. It's beautifully shot. It's well written. Very great use of CGI and practical effects. You're not going to see very many practical effects in the sequels. They're mostly just directed DVD and crappy CGI. Again, got to give it to Betty White. Was by far the standout in this movie. Before we see the final credits, she's just sitting at the edge of the dock, throwing bread out. You're thinking, she's going to be feeding like, wild birds or ducks or whatever. And it's like, no, here come these little baby crocs. And it's like, oh, come on, yes, nibble, eat your supper, come on. These things. She's basically mothering these little hatchlings, and it's a really, really good movie. I do strongly recommend you watch Lake Placid. What was that? Oh, Ooh, that was the, yeah, okay. The label's come off. I'll have to redo it. It is a very, very good movie. It's well written again, well shot, and don't watch the sequels. Just don't watch the sequels. They're garbage. They're horrible. I wish I didn't see 2 or 3. I was in a video store. I was in a DVD store one day, and when we still had one here, actually, it was in one of the retail stores because I was looking. Oh yeah, I haven't seen this one. I might buy it. It was Lake Placid Legacy, and I've got the person in the store telling me, "Don't get it. It sucks. It's a piece of crap." Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. I won't. So I don't know about that one. I haven't seen it, but the other ones like Lake Placid 2 and 3, I have seen those, and yeah, they're bad. They don't fall under the category of so bad they're good, like Sharknadoes. Sharknadoes fall into the so bad they're good category. These 2 Lake Placids 2 and 3, they just fall under the so bad they're bad. But anyway, that is it for this edition of the Video Vault. Thank you so much for checking it out, and I will see you all next time around. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you like it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, you hit that subscribe, and you ding that notification cowbell. For any other reviews you want to look at, I will put links up here, and maybe one there. Also, the links to my socials will be down in the description box below, and I shall see you all next time.